This is going to be a real challenge, not for me, but for you. So I'm Dominic, and I'm working at SelfLeaders. We have been running a 2-month-long course at Stockholm School of Economics. And then last year some individuals came to us and asked us, well, we would also like to attend this course, and they were outside of the school. So we took the best of the 2-month course and put it into 1 day. Then some companies came to us and asked, well, are you not able to come to us and have like an inspirational hour around self-leadership? Okay. So we took the best of the 1 day and put it into 1 hour. And then last week we talked to Johan and he said, okay, you can have 15 minutes. So I took the best of the 1 hour and put it into 15 minutes. Okay, so this is going to be a 15-minute crash course in self-leadership. One of the most popular courses at Stockholm School of Economics. Fasten your seatbelts, here we go. Self-leadership is all about how to become a successful and happy entrepreneur. So where can you find the motivation and drive for that? Let's start with one option. Positive external motivator. And this is really something positive. But if you look at research, it is showing that the most successful entrepreneurs, they do not have the primary motivation here. Like Richard Branson is saying that if he would have been focused on the money aspect of his business, he would never been able to take Virgin to where it is today. So maybe we have to then look at some negative external motivators. Like if you find yourself a really angry boss who will threaten with punishment if you do not show up at 9 AM each morning, will you work hard then? You probably would, right? But when this guy is leaving the room, you will find yourself surfing into Facebook and other pages I won't even imagine. So, if the primary motivation is not from outside, maybe we have to look inside ourselves. And seldom people do. But if they would, what would they find? They would find fear. And I mean, fear can be good. We all have fears. And as entrepreneurs, we have met and overcome a lot of our fears. But you do not want to be primarily driven by fear in the long run. It will drain you and it will run you out. So you want to be looking at something positive and internal, right? Like your passion. But many of you entrepreneurs, you're so passionate about your product, right? It's like, I really want to take this to the market, I really want to make this work. And that is not going to be good enough in the long run. You need to ask yourself, why are you passionate about your product? What are the roots? And that is going into values. So understanding what is really most important to you. And we are having discussion with some of the larger companies in Sweden around the theme. And when we talk with them, they think that we talk about organizational values. Like that they have told the whole companies that they should be professional, actionable and responsible. And then it can be interesting to look at the study where they asked a vast amount of employees this question. How committed are you to work on a scale from 1 to 7, 1 being the lowest and 7 being the highest? And then you can see that in the end, it didn't matter at all. The ones with low clarity organizational values had the same commitment as the ones with a high clarity of organizational values. So we need to look at the other factor, and that is clarity of personal values. And here we can see the effect, right? That if you go from low clarity of personal values into high clarity of personal values, you get a much higher commitment. And even better, then you can link that to the organizational values and get even better. And I think this is important for you as well, both for your internal motivation, but also when you grow your companies. This is even more important in Sweden. If you look at the map over the world, and this is a cultural map, it's not a geographical one. So on one axis we have people focusing more on survival values like food, shelter, safety, versus people focusing more on self-expression, like I want to fulfill myself, I want to have a meaning in life. I want to contribute to society. And then on the annex we have traditional values, which is like, if your father was a doctor, you will also become a doctor, or if the church tells you to do X, you will do X. Versus, this is rational values saying, what is rational meaningful for me? So personal values. And here we can see that you are not as long as you think you are, right? In Sweden we are in the upper right corner, so we are the most extreme country of them all. And this is because we have had not a lot of wars, have a lot of wars, and we have a quite a stable economy, right? As a contrast, we have the States, where self-expression is also high there, but you're also very reliant on traditions, like the American dream is strong. So this is really a beautiful spot to be in, but it also puts a lot of pressure on us, right? We don't have these traditions to rely on. So who can tell you what's the right thing to do? That can only be one person. And this is not an easy question. It's not like later in the evening you go have a beer, and then suddenly it's like, yes, those are my most important values. Or you go walking in the forest, and then suddenly Santa Claus or Gandalf come into it and tells you these are your 5 values. You have to find out this by yourself. So you have to reflect on this for 1 hour, and I think it's really worth it. And we are working with a system called Values Online, where out of 130 common values in the Western society, you get a meaning now. So it's working like a life compass. So as an example, this is my meaning map. So this is showing me my foundation values. So what are the values that I need to be satisfied each day? What are the focus values? That is the values that are driving me in my ideas, in my projects. And thirdly, what are the values that I'm striving for? And then we as human beings, we can only have around 7 ± 2 things in our consciousness at the same time. So out of these values, I've chosen my 9 most prioritized values that I'm living every day, that I don't want to compromise on. And we as entrepreneurs, I think that many times we are focusing so much on our passion, right? So we tend to forget about the other life areas. So then a great tool can be to look at, this is a common tool within coaching self-leadership called Life Wheel. So here you can see that first of all, let's look at my relationships. So what is important for me in terms of my most intimate relationships, my family and my friends. Then we can look into my health. So how can I create my physical well-being, my mental strength, and finding harmony and spirituality in life. And then I can go into my passion, right? What do I want to do in my business? How can I earn money on it? And finally, what are my other engagements and hobbies? So let's take like a 30-second challenge. I just want you all to just go through this wheel and just put in your head like a score between 1 to 10. How fulfilled are you in each area? So really quickly, just 30 seconds. So, how did your wheels look like? Maybe some of you had small wheels, maybe some of you had bigger wheels. Maybe some of you have wheels that didn't roll very well. For you who had like 10s all over, I have really bad news for you. Your life will not get any better than this. This is as good as it will get. But for the rest, you still have potential. So then it's about looking into those life areas that you want to develop in. And it's not only saying I want to develop in this area, it's also saying how do I want to develop. And a great tool for that is visions. I used to work as a strategy consultant at McKinsey company, and there I helped organizations with their organizational visions. And then one day I came home and I asked myself after the workshop, well, do I have visions? And the answer to that was no. So then I took more or less the same process. I put aside 2 hours, and then I created vision within these different areas. And just as an example, this is my vision within passion. So I inspire myself and others to live life fully and with meaning. And this gives me a tremendous energy every day to just look at the vision. And I think this is what you can do as well, to create visions within your life areas, and then you can link those ones to your business as well. Okay, so now we are still in the dreaming state, right? We are thinking about our values, we are visualizing about our different life areas. And I don't know if you have heard the saying about that you need to dream in one hand, and then you have to spit in the other, and work really hard with the other one, right? So imagine that this pump is representing your business idea or your business at its current state. And you're really thirsty, right? You really want some water out of this pump. So what do? Well, you run out to the pump and you just slam it as hard as you can, right? Will you get any water out of this pump then? Probably not. I think this is what a lot of us entrepreneurs think, that if I just do this one action, if I just make this one phone call or this one customer, then everything will be solved. But it's not about one action, it's about continuous action. So it's about habits. So then if you start pumping, right? And in the beginning it's really difficult since all the water is below ground, right? So it's really hard. And then you pump for 1 month, 2 months, maybe 1 year, 2 years. And there's no water coming out of the pump. So then this is a time where a lot of people leave the pump. Then you have a second type of people who continue, right? And after maybe 2 years, there's some water coming out of the pump. But it's only a couple of drops, right? Can you recognize it? And this is even more frustrating. You have been pumping for 2 years and it's just a couple of drops. And then you, since you're really thirsty, you start drinking those drops, right? But then you leave the pump. So the whole water is going below ground again, and when you go back to the pump, it's really difficult. So then you have the third type of people. You go to the pump, they pump for 2 years, and they continue when they see those 2 drops, and they don't stop until the whole water is running fluid, and there's enough water for themselves and for all the people around them. And at that time point is running fluid, so they don't have to stand at the pump the whole time. And it's much easier, right? So, what I would like you to reflect on from today is around 3 different questions. What are my personal values? So what is driving me what is driving me behind my passion? What are my visions within different life areas? And which are the regular habits that I can take that are in line with my values and my visions? And you can do this by yourself. If you want to do this with other enthusiastic people, please come to us. And we have this introduction seminar once each month. Normally it's costing 300 SEK. But I would like to give this to you from one entrepreneur to another one for free. So you just go into our website, SelfLeaders.com. You can put this code IDD as in Internet Discovery Day, and it's valid for the 2 coming events. Just don't wait too long, since we can only take around 50 participants. We don't have this kind of equipment as you are.
Well, neither do we.
So thanks a lot, and thanks Johan for organizing this.
Thank you for coming, Dominic.